It is March 12th of 2018, and I am calling the regular borough meeting to order. Mr. Maskell will do the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, the notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board at the entrance hall of the Beach Haven Municipal Building and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mr. Caxton.
Here.
Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. Maskell.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Here. Right. Mr. Manager, Mrs. Manager.
Cash receipts in the current fund account for the period February 1st, 2018 to February 28th, 2018 were $1,601,078.46. Cash disbursement in the current fund account for the month of February 2018 totaled $3,387,271.73. The cash balance in the current fund account as of this period totaled $13,821,185.54. Cash receipts in the water utility account for the period February 1 to February 28, 2018 were $112,495.56. Cash disbursements in the water utility account for the month of February totaled $40,071.84. And the cash balance in the water utility account as of February 28th was $3,077,667.86.
All right, thank you. Before we get started with our ordinance, I would like to just briefly mention that we now have a new Borough Hall, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Everybody worked very, very hard over the weekend, all weekend long, including Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, moving everything from here down to there. And I am amazed. I was in there today. Sherry is so organized that she knows exactly where to find all this stuff. There's hundreds of boxes everywhere you look, and everybody's still working. It's like there's been no interruption in the work. It's incredible. The building is absolutely beautiful. It gives us a chance to bring our entire borough workforce together because the police force is also housed in this building. When you build a municipal building, there's all kinds of state requirements that you have to follow. You're not grandfathered in for anything. So we had to have a sally port, which is, I didn't even know what a sally port was. That shows you how dumb I am. But that's when the police have somebody in their police car and they have to take them into custody, into the police station. They drive into this special enclosed garage-like area, and they can then take the prisoner out of the car right up the steps to the the arraignment area. We also had to do things like when we build a courthouse. I mean, this is our court right now. We had to have a chamber for the judge. The judge had to have her own escape hatch. She had to have her own door to get out. We had to make sure that everything was safe, that nobody could shoot through a window or something. And she had to have her own bathroom. So, I mean, it's very, very fancy. But it also gives us, I mean, court isn't used that frequently, but that gives us a chance to meet there. It gives us a chance to have really special meetings there where we can video conference in with people, and we have movie screens in there. We can put plans up for land use development. It's very exciting. It really is a gorgeous building. We're in the process of talking about where to put artwork up and how to keep it as beautiful and notable as it is now. And the really special thing about this is that we got a $5 million grant to build this building. Now, it cost us a little bit more than that, but we could have never built anything, not even anything as nice as this, for what we actually had to pay out of our pockets. I also want to mention that this was a long, laborious project. Dawn, Cax, myself, and Frank Little, we sent out, Sherry was a manager then, Rich Crane was. We advertised for architects We went through many, many resumes. Went through the resumes and brought in 3 different architectural firms to do a presentation. And I think we were very fortunate. We picked a wonderful architect who has watched this building like a hawk. I mean, he has made sure that everything is done absolutely to the correct order. And so we're hoping that over the years it will hold up very well. It's a little higher than we initially wanted because we didn't know what the government was going to declare as the floodplain height at the time, and we couldn't wait to find out before we started building. So that's why it is as high as it is, but it really does, I think once we have the shutters on and the bricks in front, and when we get the landscaping, it really does seem to fit in to Beach Haven. I'd like Don to say a few words, because he was intimately involved
Well,
in
the
this
only
whole
thing,
process.
there's a lot of people, it's open for business now, and people are we are planning an open house, and it'll probably be the end of April right now, tentatively, but we were talking April 27th or the 28th. So that's a tentative open house where you will have the opportunity to come in, tour the building, meet the staff and stuff like that. So hopefully the next council meeting, next land use board meeting would be in the meeting, in the new building. They're still working on the courtrooms.
The sound system.
And the only other thing is, hopefully we could use this for public activities, whether it's, taxpayers meetings, or whether it's something for the school board, or whatever it is, so the intent is, to use the courtroom and other things to support public functions, also, so it wouldn't just stay idle, okay?
I did want to mention that we have the most amazing quilt in the world that the ladies of Beach Haven made for the centennial, or the bicentennial in 1976. It's exquisite, and it will be hanging right opposite the courtroom. The cabinet for it, which has to be sealed, it has to be done just right to protect this, is being built at the moment. So I'm hoping that will be done before we have the
Yes, Eric, I know you're taking notes, but it's tentative, April 27th, 28th, get the exact dates and share it.
get those quilt maker cabinet.
That's all I
makers.
know. Okay.
All right, ordinances.
Okay, ordinance 2018-1C, an ordinance creating chapter 172, soil erosion and sediment control of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, final reading.
This is the final reading, and therefore I'm opening the floor to the public if anybody has any comments or they would like to ask about this particular ordinance. All right.
Quick question. When you come up
You
here?
should be sitting in the front row, though, because we know you're going to be getting
No,
up every
no,
time.
no, no, no. I have just a quick question.
So
Does
you have to state your name and.
Okay. William Burris, 100 Northwest Avenue.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Build a million bridges,
Does this ordinance apply to all zones within the borough? So it applies to redevelopment stuff as well?
Well,
Okay.
yes.
Well,
Okay, that's my question.
any lot over 7,000 square feet would be covered under the Ocean County Soil Conservation. You'd have to go to them for a plan. It's for lots that are smaller than 7,000 square feet would be covered under this ordinance.
But my question is about impervious coverage, because this was an impervious coverage ordinance as well.
This is soil erosion and sediment control for construction sites and vacant land.
All right, got it. Thank you.
It's pretty basic. Okay, I therefore now close the floor to public comment.
I have to make a motion to approve 1C.
Second.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Masko.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
2018-2C, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 212-16, signs of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to regulate flashing, neon, animated, and digital signs. Final reading.
Because this is final reading, I'm opening the floor to public comments. There are copies of all these ordinances up there if anybody needs them. Does anybody like to come forward and speak? Okay, therefore I close the floor to public comments. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve 2C.
Second.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
2018-3C, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 136 nuisances of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, 2000, to include light trespass as recognized and prohibited nuisance within the borough. Final reading.
Again, because it's final reading, I open the floor to public comment. Would anybody like to comment on this particular ordinance? Therefore, I close the floor to public comment, and do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
2018-5C, an ordinance of the Borough of Beach Haven establishing an electric and/or natural gas aggregation program. Final reading.
All right, again, final reading, I open the floor to public comments. We have our expert here, if anybody would like to ask a question as well. So, does anybody like to ask a question? I think this is something we're doing especially for our taxpayers.
Did you want to do a presentation now?
You tell me whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
She has her projector set up here, Dan.
Okay. Well, why don't you do it now before we vote? So we'll leave the floor open in case people have questions, okay?
Yeah.
That sounds good,
So I'll go through it and hopefully that'll answer any questions that there might be.
right?
So we have it up here, so I apologize. So
Are we going to be in your way?
I don't think so. I think this is high enough where I have it.
fine.
I'll just sit here and smile.
Other one.
Oh, jeez.
Switch them down. There you go.
Give me a second here.
Well, the big heads have to come out.
I know, I gotta do it, I think that's what my grandkids.
If I fall, I own the building.
Nancy, you could have stayed.
Hey, no, wait a minute, I did yoga today, so I...
You didn't ride your bike tonight.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay? All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me out again this evening. My name is Stacia Scaduto from Commercial Utility Consultants. We go by CUC. I'd like to congratulate you guys on your new Borough Hall. I got to drive by it first time in the daytime, so it's beautiful, so I'm excited to see the
Thank you.
inside. So congratulations. So I'm going to talk about the energy aggregation program. I was here last month. I recognize a couple of you. But I'm going to go through a full presentation. It starts actually with the background of it, just so that it kind of gives you an idea about how your utility, the utility bills get set today, so that you can understand how a program like this can actually work and be successful. So it really starts with deregulation, which has been in the state of New Jersey for since 1999, so for quite some time. So deregulation, very simply put, is the separation of the actual supply, the energy that we're using, versus the delivery of it. So prior to 1990,
focus that a little bit.
oh, sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so it must be my eyes. Looks good. Is that better?
I don't know, maybe it's my eyes.
I think it's partially because I'm projecting further too.
Okay.
So the deregulation separates the two components of your bill. Okay, so prior to deregulation, which the illustration has here, it went from the power plant to the utility company to you. So that's when the utility company got to set both of the prices, both for the electric price and the delivery price. Okay, after deregulation and those components got split, the utility company no longer got to set the price for the supply portion. So as the illustration points out, goes from a power plant to a third-party supply company, to the utility company, to you. Now I spend a little bit of time on this because it's important for everybody to understand that the way that it works today, and today Atlantic City Electric is not generating the electricity that we're using. They're buying it from someone else. Okay, so the bill that you're getting is not for Atlantic City Electric's generation, if you will. Okay, and if that happens, then you say, okay, well then, who does set the price? Where does the price come from? Where does my energy come from? It happens through the Board of Public Utilities, which is a division of the state here. All states have some type of public utility oversight committee, so we call it the BPU. The
Excuse me, on the last thing you had A, B, and C. After deregulation, does it
Well,
only
because there's
go
multiple
to three
suppliers.
suppliers?
Yep, that's just an example, there's just
There
multiple.
could be 20.
Yeah, and actually I have a slide that'll show you that. Actually, here's the slide. So there's what, 8 there, 9 there, something like that. So the BPU holds a statewide auction for the BGS, or Basic Generation Service. So the state holds an auction once a year, it actually just happened 2 weeks ago. And that is the website if you'd like to look it up. So the BPU has an auction, they pick the suppliers, and they set the rate. So that's how the utility companies are charging you today, because the state said, this is how much you're gonna charge the ratepayers. Okay, and again, I bring that up because the government is picking your supplier and picking the rate that you're paying. And that's important as we go through. So these are the folks that are actually supplying the entire state with the electricity. So not only just for Atlantic City Electric, but JCP&L Public Service and Rockland, which is way, way up north.
But Atlantic City Electric is part of Exelon now.
Correct, but they are not the generator.
Right.
The parent company,
Right.
if you will, is the generator. So what is aggregation, and what are we talking about tonight? Ultimately, aggregation is pooling everyone's usage together to get a better rate, okay? And how this particular program works is it works as I just described. It works in parallel to the statewide process. So again, the state, the BGS, they have an auction in February, it sets each utility's rate, and then that rate takes effect later that year. This particular program, same thing, we're just resetting it. So we're taking it away from the state. State has an auction, picks a supplier, sets the rate. We're doing it on a local level. So locally, we will have an auction, pick a supplier, and set the rate. So that this way, that's how the suppliers are able to sharpen their pencils and get better rates, because we're just talking about a very small group of people as opposed to the entire state. So that's kind of how it works. Bulk purchasing from a third-party supplier, we get rate reductions, and then in addition to that, and here's how some differentiators start to come into play, is that there's consumer protections available to you. Because yes, you can go home and you can do this on your own, except for the fact that the BPU wrote in specific consumer protections that you normally might not get if you just go online at home. So what's the process that we would have to go through? Well, we're here tonight, we're doing ordinances, there's some resolutions and agreements that would be moved forward. My company, CUC, along with our partner, CES, we prepare and send all of the bid documents up to the BPU, Division of Rate Counsel, and also the Department of Community Affairs is also involved. So we have 3 state entities and 3 state departments that oversee this program. And then again, we have an auction, we pick a supplier, and sets the rates. Now, once we go through that whole process, and we're able to get some savings, because in order to move forward, there has to be a rate reduction compared to Atlantic City Electric, okay, has to be lower than ACE's rate. Then we would begin a very robust outreach program. We'll come back, luckily, to the New Borough Hall, we'll have some town hall meetings, make sure that everyone is aware, hey, we're gonna be moving forward, and we do kind of a question and answer, so that this way everybody's informed and can make their decision on what they wanna do.
Could you pick Exelon, for instance, who's big, Atlantic City?
No.
Like your company picked Exelon?
No, so like we don't pick anyone, right? So if Exelon wanted to participate in the auction, they could, but they're too big. They want this state load, right? They're not necessarily concerned, but that's why they have subsidiary companies that they also own that are much smaller, and that's their target market. And to that point, sir, it really, the supply all comes from the same place. Okay, so imagine, if you will, a gigantic swimming pool, and all of the suppliers just put all of their generation into that, and we're just pulling whatever we need, and you're getting charged the rate that was selected. Okay, so it's no different. There's no lesser service, if you will. So then some of the details of that, once we award, there's a 30-day window for residents to decide if they wish to participate or not participate. Mailer goes out, in there's a postcard, you can check a box, I'm okay, I'll stick with Atlantic City Electric, it's postage paid. 800 number that goes to our call center that's right here in Butler, New Jersey. And again, that 30-day window is just so that you're never enrolled in the program. If you, 3 months later, you decide, you know what, I'm okay, I'm gonna go back to ACE, or a niece is participating in a supplier program and you want to support her, you can always opt out at any time. Now here's part of it. There's no penalties, there's no fees, you can opt out at any time, you can opt back in at any time. So that's part of those consumer protections that the state wrote in to make sure this stays a win-win program for everybody. One thing to point out, excuse me 1 second. One thing to point out is that the program only includes folks who are already not on a third-party supply program. So anybody that's chosen one individually on their own, not automatically included, and also those that don't have solar. There's an issue with the solar meter readings, it becomes a huge hassle, and we don't want to see. Yes, I'm sorry.
You get more of a discount with the more people you get on?
Yes, technically yes. So we are actually, today we met with Long Beach Township, so we're hoping to maybe pull some other towns in the area in.
Good.
Okay. So what's kind of the point of this, right? Well, the point is really nothing changes. As I said, we're doing in parallel to how the state process works for you today. And the other thing is all current services that Atlantic City Electric provides for you. So delivery, meter readings, emergency services, power outages, all of that payments, everything continues to remain through ACE because you're paying your delivery charge to them. They're the backbone, if you will. So all of that remains. The only difference is a line on your bill and you get a lower rate. So Atlantic City Electric continues to maintain everything that they are today because that's all they're being paid for today. Because again, remember, they're paying somebody else for the energy anyway.
Another
So-
question.
Yep.
What happens in, as you saw in New Jersey, we're having power outages in North Jersey, quite a bit of those.
Yep.
If we were to join A, can A move in if we lose power here to
No.
another organization to streamline power
No,
to us
so-
on a temporary basis?
So the difference is that all of the utility companies are always the utility company no matter what, unless the state were to allow another utility company in. Okay, so this doesn't replace ACE or JCP&L or PSE&G. All it's doing is it's giving you a different supply rate and what you're paying for the actual energy. Everything else remains. So outages, like you were just saying, ACE is still responsible for those. If they wanted to, boost up power lines or do anything, that's all on them. That's all their decision to do. Okay? One bill still comes from ACE. Nothing changes on that. Budget billing would be offered. Again, there's no fees, and there's nobody calling or knocking on the door regarding this program. So here's a sample Atlantic City bill. And where you'll see the yellow arrow there towards the bottom, basic generation service. So if you remember, you go back a couple of slides, that was the auction, basic generation service. That is just an identifier, okay? Where are you getting your energy from, and how much should ACE bill you for that? So this is the one thing that will change. Instead of it saying basic generation service, it will list the name of the supplier. So XYZ energy supplier will be there, and your rate would be listed. Now, if you see up in the, and I know it's a little hazy, I apologize, but the paragraph above it says supply charges, that's going to tell you every single month how much you would have paid if you were on Atlantic City Electric's rate. So there's the transparency in the program. Every single month, you look down, you say, okay, we're paying, whatever, 9 cents, 9.5 cents, and up here is where Atlantic City Electric rate is. So you get to see what you're saving.
When it says type of charge, the first thing is charge.
Transmission charge, yeah, transmission
Oh, I didn't
service
see that.
charge.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of funky. And then basic generation service charge would be down
All
there.
right.
So yeah, the bills get a little confusing when they put multiple lines in there, but
Right.
it will just be one line and it'll say XYZ energy supply and whatever rate you get. And again, remembering this is all just same bill, nothing's changing there. So why would we do this?
Right, except it should be a little
Except it's
less.
cheaper.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, that's, here we go. Good segue. Why would we do this? Because nothing changes. right? Residents are looking to save a couple of bucks. Why would we pay more if we wouldn't have to? And nothing is changing. The consumer protections are in there, so it's a flat rate throughout the entire program. So some people had gotten burnt many years past when suppliers came in and they were sort of charging what's called a variable rate, which increases when it's a bad energy market. This program prohibits that. Okay, if we come in and we tell you your rate's 10 cents, it's 10 cents for the entire term. It's not 10 and a half cents in 3 months from now because they could make more money. That's prohibited. Okay, so it stays flat.
Each year?
How for the entire term, whatever we select at the time of the contract. It could be a year, it could be 18 months, whatever is the best rate that we
But
choose.
each
With that 10
February,
years.
there's an auction.
For the utility companies.
Yes.
Yep, for the utility companies.
You can pick any length of time for the contract?
You can't go past 2 years,
gonna say,
but we can pick
risky.
any term in between there.
Okay.
We typically ask for 12, 18, and 24, but we also let the suppliers come back and say, because they're running their algorithms and they understand the futures market and stuff like that. We've had a couple of occasions where they said, hey, a 14-month contract is best, or a 16-month contract is best, and then we analyze and we would guide you on that. And then what we have, not required by statute, but our consulting companies built this in, again, to continue to protect residents, is what we call a BGS rate guarantee. So, Councilman, to your point about the utility auctions. So say we have a 2-year contract, we're a year into it, the state comes back and they said it was a low, it wasn't really hot this past summer, it was a mild winter, we lowered the rate for the utility companies. And it's lower than what our contracted rate is. So that BGS rate guarantee is, we go back to the supplier and we talk to them and we say, ACE's rate went down and it's lower than what our contract is. You either have to lower your contract rate or we're gonna opt everybody out and put them back to ACE. And that's for the benefit to make sure that residents are always getting the lower rate, okay? So that's automatic, nobody has to do anything. Residents have flexibility, move in and out, again, services, budget billing, all of that is done just as it is today.
That's in your program. Does
Yes.
AC Electric have any problems with people moving in and out? Do they have any
No,
charges?
They don't have the choice.
They don't have a choice. okay.
Yep, they don't have a choice. And it doesn't matter to them because, again, they're not making money on the electricity, okay? So just some quick FAQs. Who do I call if my electricity goes out? You're still calling ACE, nothing changes. Will I be penalized if I don't become part of the program? No, you just won't have benefit of the reduced rate. Will there be separate bills? No, again, remember, just one bill. Does this hurt ACE? This comes up, people know people that work for them, are afraid that they might lose their job. Again, this has been in the way that it has been since 1999. Okay, so for a long time now, nothing's changed. So nothing's changing on ACE's income or profitability, so no, it doesn't. Billing questions would still go through ACE. If I cancel, can I resume participation? Absolutely, you can go out, come in as much as you'd like. Budget billing is offered. If someone already has it, that will be continued. If they'd like it in the future, it would certainly be offered to them as well. And again, what if I already have a third-party supplier or solar? Not automatically included. However, if your third-party contract is expiring at some point soon, or at any point during the contract, you can call us and we can sweep you in. And then the last one is, and this is sort of the biggest one that we get, is why do I have to respond or opt out in order to not participate? And frankly, that's how the state wrote the program. So in order for us to run the program, we have to run it as an opt-out program. And in addition, I would say that this is frankly the way that it already is, because the state picked your rate for you, and unless you don't want that rate or supplier, you have to tell them. So again, it runs exactly the same way that the state is operating the BPU's program. So that's all I have. If you guys want to.
I don't understand that last part. Everybody has to respond that we said
Well,
this?
if you don't want the rate reduction, you have to let us know. If you're going to take it, you don't have to do anything.
So everybody in Beach Haven is going to get a notification?
Yes.
And suppose 100 people don't respond?
Hopefully nobody will respond.
Huh?
Hopefully nobody will respond.
I think he means if only 100 people
Right.
remain or
What-
something
You know,
like that.
whatever the option.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
okay?
matter
It
then,
does
okay.
not matter.
Oh, I
There's no
thought
minimum.
you were saying that if people don't do it, then it's gonna.
They just get the lower
They
rate.
just automatically, they will get their lower rate
Right.
if you don't respond. Okay? But separate from that also, as sort of, so we send out our information saying, hey, if you don't want this, let us know. Prior to the enrollment, then Atlantic City Electric will also send a letter, so a confirmation letter saying, hey, we're rolling out this program. If this was an error, you don't want to be in it, you still have 7 to 10 days or something like that to let us know. But again, even 2 months later, somebody notices and they don't want it, they can still opt out.
That's great. Okay. Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Sounds good.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Still open.
You're not one call.
Oh, you ugly.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm monitoring you 24/7.
If I turn it over. Security.
Okay, so thank you so much. That's very helpful.
You know what I'm doing.
Yeah, one more request for any questions relating to this ordinance.
Good ordinance.
Therefore, I close the floor, and do I have a motion to approve
Motion
this
to
ordinance?
approve.
Second.
5C?
5C.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Okay, 2018-6, I'm sorry. Is it? Yeah, mine's
Staples.
6C, an ordinance amending Chapter 173, Solid Waste, of the Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to clarify collection for business and commercial establishments. Final reading.
Again, because this is final reading, I'm opening the floor to public comments. Would anybody like to comment? In that case, I close the floor. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve 6C.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
2018 4C, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 212 zoning of the Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to require buildings, front facade to face improved public streets. First reading.
This is the first reading, so there's no public comment. The purpose of this ordinance is to ensure that our main street, our commercial area, continues to look like a commercial area and is contiguous, and it gives it the look of a downtown environment. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance?
Motion to approve 4C.
Second.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
All right, 2018-7, calendar year 2017 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A, 4-45.14. First
Again.
reading.
Again, this is the first reading, and,
Oh, sorry. It's 2018, sorry.
sorry, I didn't hear that. This is a first reading, so there's no public comment. We will have hearings about this budget. It is available for the public to look at. I do want to mention, there's a good thing about it, there will be no increase in taxes, absolutely none, and we'll be paying off a larger percentage of our debt service. So it's been a good year for Beach Haven.
That's just a cap.
Yeah, oh, that's a cap package. Cap package. Oh, God, I'm thinking, I'm like totally not, yeah, I know, I'm wrong, just forget that, this is different.
I'll take a motion to,
Yeah,
Make a motion to forget it.
we'll jump ahead.
motion to approve 2018-7.
Second.
Mr. Katsas.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
2017-8C, Ordinance of the Borough of Beach Haven authorizing disbursement of funds from the Borough of Beach Haven's Affordable Housing Trust Fund for grants to a redevelopment project containing inclusionary development. First reading.
Again, it's not open to the public, but this is benefiting our affordable housing. So do I have a motion to approve
Motion
this?
to approve 2018-8C.
Second.
Mr. Texas?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Okay, resolutions within consent agenda. All matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds, and any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. 69, return of filing bond. 70, appointing emergency management officer. 71, updating emergency management council. 72, approving certified list of eligibles for LoSAP for first aid. 73, reappointing Richard Crosted to the Sewerage Authority. 75, authorizing a shared agreement with Ocean County. 76, amending contract for professional services for zoning officer. 77, authorizing cancellation of taxes. 78, approving change order number 14 for the Beach Haven Municipal Building. 79, supporting the reappointment of Joseph Coronado as Ocean County prosecutor. 81, authorizing change order number 1 for the William Butler Annex Phase 1 electrical. 84, supporting Senate Bill number 2461 and Assembly Bill number 4209. 85, determining the form and other details of up to $2,500,000 general obligation of bond of the Borough of Beach Haven in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, providing their sale. 86, allowing the budget to be read by title only. 87, referring a proposed rehabilitation area designation of block 153, lots 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 in the Borough of Beach Haven to the Land Use Board. 88, referring proposed rehabilitation area designation block 154, lots 3.01 and 3.02 in the Borough of Beach Haven to the Land Use Board.
Is there anybody here that would like to remove any of these from the agenda for individual discussion?
I have a comment on one of them, Mayor.
Yes?
I'd like to everybody to understand that as a non-political group in Beach Haven, the supporting of Joseph Coronado is unusual, but I have supported 120%. The guy has been outstanding, and we don't usually do this, but just for drug enforcement and for what he's done for the youth in this county so far, it's been, I don't know if everybody knows it, but he works with Southern Regional and all the schools, and he's an outstanding man. First time I met him, it was going to be the war on drugs, and I said I've heard it 1,000 times. I never want to hear it again. And he actually, this was years ago, and he's actually done more than I've ever anticipated, and one single person doing.
And I think I agree with you. And hopefully our Democratic governor will hear this. Anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss separately?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolutions as read.
I'd like to second that.
Mr. Kaxis?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes. And here's where I screwed up.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna give a brief summary of the 2018 budget. Like Nancy had mentioned, there's no increase in the tax rate this year. The total appropriations for the budget this year is $12,074,970.12. It's a decrease this year of $10,927.08. Some of the changes from last year is a decrease in salary and wage in the amount of $156,797. It's a 3.53% decrease in salary and wage. Operating expense, we saw a 1.99% increase, a $151,618 increase in operating expense. Two contributors to those increases is insurance. $124,478 is increase in insurance. And pensions went up $37,843. There's a big chunk of our increase to operating expense. This year, we're finally free of our 5-year deferred charge for Superstorm Sandy. It's $600,000 deferred charge that we were paying for 5 years. And this is the first year that we're free of the deferred charge. So we're going to be really proactive, and we're going to tip the budget and put $478,580 towards our debt service. It's a 63% increase in payments toward our debt service without raising the tax rate. So we're going to try to pay down some of the debt that we've accrued since Sandy. Changes in revenue, surplus, $2,371,678 in surplus. It's about $4,500 decrease in the use of surplus. We saw a $102,300 code enforcement shared service. That's a decrease from last year. We have less of an obligation since our construction code officials have changed and their salaries are decreased. And we did see a decrease of $45,000 in grants received so far for this year. The amount to be raised by taxation is $7,761,349.35, an increase of $42,509.99. So although we're not raising the tax, we did see an increase in the amount to be raised by taxation from our net valuation. The net valuation increased by $12 million, taking the net valuation to $2.08 billion. The tax rate is going to stay steady at 0.373. The library minimum appropriation for our library in town is $695,927. It's increase of $15,604. And the water utility budget is remaining static at $1,796,000. No changes to appropriations or expenses. So the municipal budget, the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean for the fiscal year 2018, be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2018. Be it further resolved that said budget will be published in the Beach Haven Times in the issue of March 22nd, and the governing body of the Borough of Beach Haven do hereby approve the following as the budget. A notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved today, and a hearing on the budget will be held at 300 Ingleside on April 9th, 2018 at 7 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year may be presented by the taxpayers or others interested persons. Roll call, please.
Mr. Texas?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Bills.
We have a bill list this evening in the amount of $1,051,772.37.
Has everybody read the bills, or anybody?
I've read the bill, we'll make a motion to approve them as submitted.
Second.
Mr. Texas?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes. Okay, now we're opening the floor to public comment. This is the opportunity for anybody to get up, state their name and address, and address us with any comments or questions you might have. Anybody want to come forward? Okay, therefore, I close the floor to public comment. All right, now we have final remarks by council. We'll start with Mr. White.
Okay. I had a few things. First of all, to reiterate some of the points you made, that this move was unbelievable, what the staff accomplished. It was, when you said boxes, I think the zoning department 190 just for themselves. And of course, I didn't show up, and I'm sorry for that. I had to get a call to clean out my junk, but you did an outstanding job, and I'm really proud of you. Relating to the budget, the people in our finance office, again, did an outstanding job. as council, we're all pleased that there's no tax increase, and as you heard, the reduction in debt has gone down, so, or being able to be paid faster, so my compliments to them. And, you know, Nancy, I just want to say to you that, you know, so many things that we go through here, the resolutions, this aggregation, the building, you work tirelessly, and you almost, you know, shameless sometimes that, you know, we don't seem to be as involved as you are in so many things, but I want to tell you that I observe it, I see it, and you know, have a heartfelt thank you for all you do for all of us in this town.
Here, here.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Makes me feel good.
Very much.
That's all.
Thanks. Councilman Masker.
I'd like to second everything that Councilman White has said. I also like to add a special thanks to Councilman Caxton, whose tireless efforts on behalf of the borough for not only building and construction, but on the land use board, Nancy as well. But Don's been an invaluable resource, and hope to have him working with us for 4 more years soon.
Thank you.
You're here.
Yes. Just one quick thank you to the Public Service Group. I know after the nor'easters that have come through and the flooding and all the debris that was left on the streets, especially where I live in Ingleside, they were very, very, very quick in the Bay Area to pick up all the debris and all the damage or the stuff that came in from the Bay was an excellent move, and I really take my hat off to them because they were there for a number of hours on Bay Avenue, as I say, and cleaning up everything. And that is a tribute to this town, that they could move that quickly. So my hat goes off to those people and thanking them very much.
Thank you. Mr. Cactus.
Just 2 things. One is, you know, Sherry Bowler's done a great job with the budget, but it wouldn't have happened without the leadership of Sherry Mason also. Sherry's done a great job over the last year, and she and Sherry Bowler work very closely together, and they make a great team, and I just hope this could be something that will continue in the future, both on the budget and other projects. The second thing is, now that we've got the Royal Building done, there's going to be a high priority and a significant effort, you'll hear more about in the future, to deal with the nuisance flooding. We've had a lot of nuisance flooding on the boulevard in the past weeks and years. It's consistently gotten worse. We've met with the county. There will be continued meetings with the county, and I think we're you know, they're seeing it as a priority, and we're working with the other communities on the island. So hopefully nuisance flooding will be addressed, and with some improvements that would reduce the flooding on the boulevard. So again, you know, a lot of work ahead on that area, but we are really going to pursue it as much as we can.
Okay, everybody said everything I really wanted to say. But,
Motion to adjourn.
there you go. There you go.
Second.
It really, I think we've worked well together, and I think this is a really great moment. I'm moving into this magnificent Borough Hall, being able to keep our taxes at a reasonable rate, paying off our debt. And Don and I are actually going up to Tom's River tomorrow, Wednesday, to meet with one of the freeholders about the nuisance flooding. There was an article in the Asbury Park Press, which I mean, I was a little embarrassed because they kept quoting me, and I'm not the only person that knows there's nuisance flooding. But so these freeholders have told me, we are going to help you address this problem. And remember that 1/3 of your taxes that you pay, your real estate taxes, goes to the county. And we bring in lots of money to the county coffers. So the county's going to help us solve the problem. Remember also the Boulevard and in Beach Haven, Beach Avenue are county roads. So the county really needs to take responsibility for a lot of this. And therefore, we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Just like kids.